Today we are going to have a review of the different skills involved in listening. We are going to see the definition of micro and macro skills, and the most important part will be the parts of a listening lesson. Okay, we have said before that effective listening comprehension skills are the basis of second language learning. Teaching learning then is very important as language teachers. Teaching listening is organized around the skills involved in listening. What we do when we listen. Listening for keywords, listening and making inferences, listening for topics, for main ideas, or for details. Brown in 2003 classified all these skills into micro and macro skills. Micro skills involve processing at the linguistic level. All of these are included in this category. Distinguishing between English sounds, recognizing reduced forms of words, recognizing stressed words, following rapid speech, following disfluent speech containing pauses and hesitations, recognizing different parts of speech, and recognizing linking words. Macro skills of listening focus on larger elements of the language, such as in the top-down approach to listening. Examples: recognizing the communicative function of utterances. For example, listening and saying what the person is doing, inviting, greeting, asking for help, etc. Using information from the context to work out intended meanings, inferring sequences and implied meanings, and predicting outcomes. Using listening strategies, using real-world knowledge and background information to comprehend what they are listening. Listening strategies are divided in three different types. Cognitive strategies, that is, when you, as a listener, try to understand the messages you hear. Metacognitive strategies, which we use to plan, monitor, and evaluate our understanding of the input, of the listening input we have. And socioaffective strategies, that is, when we involve other people when trying to understand, or the strategies we use to encourage ourselves to understand what we hear. Listening strategies involve three levels of thinking and responding to the listening. Number one, how can I prepare for listening? It is questions like, what kind of text am I listening? Or what is my purpose for listening to this? Or what kind of information am I going to find in the audio? And what are the words expected to appear? On the second level, how can I manage the process of listening? What keywords and ideas will be in the listening? How can I remember what I just heard? How can I signal when I understand or when I don't? And finally, how can I evaluate my success in listening? My questions for that level would be, did I approach the listening in the right way? Or what caused any misunderstandings that I may have had? Now, the core of this part of this video is the listening lesson. The listening lesson has three different phases. What are the purposes and the type of activities recommended for each of these phases? And I have a question for you. What do you think is the most important stage of a listening lesson? The pre-listening phase, the while listening phase, or the post-listening phase? Think about it. What do you think is the most important part of the lesson? Okay, let's take a look at each of them. the pre. This part of the lesson is to prepare students with background information, unknown vocabulary, and suitable purpose and strategies for listening. Ask students what strategy they think they will need in order to complete the listening task. Are they going to listen for the main idea? Are they going to listen for specific details? Have them tell you what they think they will have to do in the specific task. Brainstorming. Have students tell you all the words they imagine will appear in the audio. If you are listening to a conversation while shopping on the supermarket, well, have them tell you all the things they imagine will appear. Before listening to an anecdote or story, have students tell you what they imagine will happen. Have students take a look at all the images that are accompanying your listening task. Have them describe what they see. Ask them what the people are wearing, what they are doing. All this will help you also recycle vocabulary and have the students set their mind on the situation and context of the listening. Have students make a list of questions they imagine will be answered by listening the test. And finally, give students a list of verbs and have them try to write a story, to build a story from the list of verbs that are related to the listening before they listen. All this will set your student's mind and will prepare him to the main part of the listening lesson, which is the while. If you answer that the while is the most important part of the lesson or the main focus of a listening lesson, you were right. The listening tasks that we do or that students do at this point should be completed during the process of listening. While they are listening, they can do all these sort of activities. They can predict, listen to the first part of the story to predict the next part of the story, okay? Sequencing. That is, when students number the events of a listening text in the order they appeared in the audio. True, false, activities, matching pictures, matching parts of sentences that appeared on the audio, listening and then pausing the text so students write the keywords that they think will follow and then play so they can check. Have them fill a text with some gaps in it, that with the words they hear on the audio, the classical listening to songs type of exercise. Check the predictions. Remember that in this one they were listening just to predict what will happen next. Well, then play another part of the story to have students check their predictions. And there are also activities that where students have to fill charts. They have to fill columns of some aspects of the listening text. And finally, what do we do after the main focus, after the while listening? In this one, you don't have to be listening again, okay? But in this part of the lesson, you will have the opportunity to check students' understanding of the text. You will have the opportunity to respond to the content in writing or a discussion. For example, if you listen to the point of view of somebody towards abortion, they listen, and after the listening, you have them write an essay on their opinion, or you have them have a debate in the classroom. You can also examine the specific structure of a lecture, for example, or a specific grammar point or specific vocabulary. What are the things that we can do? Analyze problems. What happened? Why didn't most of the students get one of the exercise right? What happened? Replay, explain, play and stop to check why there was a problem with a specific part of the audio. We can have extension activities. After listening to a text, you can have students write or comment in pairs or give their opinions. We can focus on specific language point by reading the transcript of the listening, and you can read and compare. For example, if you listened to a science class and students were working on that type of audio, then you can give them a mathematics class and have them compare what they heard. There is also a chance for vocabulary development. Specific keywords that appeared on the listening task can be then taken into a vocabulary exercise, into a text with gaps, which they will use the new words or the words presented in the previous audio. And finally, you can have another idea is to have students summarize what they heard and then compare their summaries with students. Thank you. This is all for now.